The Mazda CX-50 has quickly grown to be one of the brand's most popular models, and for the 2026 model year, we are getting a host of updates throughout the entire CX-50 model range, including some new additions for this model year as well. This right here is the 2026 Mazda CX-50 Turbo Meridian Edition. Now, if you've been watching Allcarnews for some time, we have had quite a few CX-50 variants on the channel, from the Premium Plus Hybrid to this exact vehicle in a slightly different configuration, as well as the Turbo Premium Plus. And we love the CX-50. It's probably one of the, if not the best handling vehicles in its entire class, with really sharp, responsive chassis dynamics, a more premium and unique feel compared to some of the other competitors, and now it has a lot of different powertrain options you can also choose from. Now for 2026, we're going to go into all of the different stuff that Mazda has changed with this particular CX-50. We're going to see if it's different than the Meridian Edition Turbo that we've had in the past, and why you may want to consider this over the new Meridian Edition without the turbocharged engine that comes at around $10,000 less than this particular car. Let's go dive in. Now, of course, under the hood of this particular 2026 CX-50 Meridian Edition, we have the quite venerable and wonderful Mazda 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. And I love this engine. It makes a lot of great turbo whooshing sounds, and the torque and power delivery on this car is absolutely fantastic. When you put in 93 octane premium fuel, you'll get up to around 250 to 252-ish horsepower and around a whopping 320 pound-feet of torque. Now, of course, if you put in regular fuel, which you actually can in this vehicle, your power will drop just a little bit to around the 220-ish horsepower range and around 310 pound-feet of torque, which is nice that you can actually flip-flop between fuels on this particular engine. Now, of course, what's new for 2026 is you can actually get a Meridian Edition with the regular base non-turbocharged 2.5-liter engine. Now, it doesn't get all of the cool features that this particular Turbo Meridian Edition gets, but we'll get into that in our full tour and review in just a second. Now, this is still paired to the 6-speed automatic gearbox, sending power to all 4 wheels via Mazda's i-Activ all-wheel drive system. And the only downside I would say with this engine in this particular Meridian Edition is the fuel economy has not been particularly good this week. Now, that's largely due to these chunky off-road tires, as well as the roof rack that this particular one has. We've been averaging around 19 to 20 mpg over the course of this entire week, which honestly just isn't that good, but a lot of these kind of more off-road spec SUVs in this class do sacrifice some fuel economy for all those extra bits on them. Now, this engine in the Premium Plus model without all the off-road bits does get a little bit better fuel economy. If I can recall, on that vehicle that we tested, we were seeing numbers close to the 24-ish to 25 mpg range on the highway, which is a lot better. Otherwise, this thing makes incredible amounts of power, and you will never feel like you need to really floor it in a lot of cases, but you could do that to have that nice engine sound and turbo boost while you're driving. Visually for 2026, off the bat, you're really not going to notice that much that's different on this Meridian Edition, or pretty much all the CX-50s, but if you know where to look, you'll see some differences. What is still the same though is this optional zircon sand metallic paint, which looks quite nice, and of course these decals on the hood are actually meant for off-roading to reduce glare from shining into your face on the interior of the cabin. But interestingly enough, it did not appear to seem that the non-turbo new Meridian Edition gets these hood graphics, so that might be exclusive actually to this particular model. The Turbo Meridian Edition is also getting the full LED headlights here, so we have turning adaptive LED headlights, as well as this signature LED daytime running light piece up here as well. And I like how the CX-50s also get these amber turn signal reflectors down there as well. It gives us a nice unique look. And the rest of the CX-50 visually is largely all the same. We have this front painted garnish piece over here, which looks a little bit more rugged. Now, again, what is new though for 2026 is Mazda is now introducing a kind of a darker blacked out graphics package for their logos. So the Mazda badge up here no longer is bright silver. It's kind of now this kind of dark metallic graphite-esque trim. I think that looks a lot bolder, and you're going to find that throughout the entirety of the exterior of this vehicle. All four wheels, which are these black machined unique wheels to the Turbo Meridian Edition, also got that blacked out Mazda logo on it, and even out back, the Turbo and Mazda badges all have been a little bit redesigned to make it a little bit more cleaner, as well as adding that new unique look on it. I think it looks absolutely great. Being Mazda's main kind of adventure SUV, of course, we're getting standard these Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain rubber on the Mazda CX-50 Meridian Edition with these unique 18-inch wheels, which look really, really great as well. Now, you're going to notice a few things with the CX-50 Meridian Edition, and this is really important as we just actually tested the all-new Kia Sportage X Pro Prestige, which honestly is a direct competitor to this particular car, even though this one gets way more power actually out of it. So this vehicle also gets a little bit more ground clearance than that particular Kia, for example. So we're actually getting around 8.6-ish inches of ground clearance, whereas that one's around 8.3-ish inches of ground clearance. So you have a little bit of some benefits here. And yes, the CX-50 drives pretty much best in class, though one area that you're gonna notice if you're comparing these two vehicles, for example, is the CX-50 is a lot stiffer overall, and that largely is due to its more sharper driver-focused chassis setup compared to the Kia Sportage, which is a little more comfort focused, a little bit more softer on the suspension front. Now, this vehicle also doesn't have a lot of room in this wheel arch area. A lot of owners do actually lift their CX-50 Meridian Editions to get even more ground clearance and potentially fit a little bit chunkier tire if you would like. But I think the setup overall works really well. And the great thing about these tires is they don't actually make too much noise on the roads on regular tarmac. So that's a really good benefit actually. Just that one downside is your fuel economy is definitely going to take a hit. And of course, we get a little bit of a closer look up here with those dark Mazda badges now in the center of the wheels. Out back on this 2026 Mazda CX-50 Meridian Edition, again, we have this roof platform up here. Now, while this may completely destroy your fuel economy, and it does get very loud actually on the highway from the interior from some wind buffeting, this thing actually is quite capable. Mazda even sells a tent you can put on top of this. So if you are going out camping in the woods, you can put a tent up there, have a ladder, and actually this will support that, which is pretty cool, as well as so many other accessories Mazda has on their online configurator. Though for me, as someone who is mostly on-road, I'd probably go for a Turbo Premium Plus, and if I did go for a Meridian Edition, I'd probably take this off on day-to-day driving just to help boost my fuel economy and just overall interior comfort. Now, the rest of the exterior, like I mentioned, isn't too radically different for this model year, other than all these new badges we're getting back here, the new Mazda badge, the new Turbo badge as well, and the new CX-50 all-wheel drive badge, all get that really cool kind of bronze graphite dark metallic color on them. I think it looks really sharp, and I've always loved the design of the CX-50. It's really muscular and bold, and that is no exception here on this particular model. Opening up our power tailgate back here, again, we have a pretty nice amount of cargo room in the CX-50 that expands over to around 56 inches actually when you fold down that second row space. And Mazda also has quite a few different options on the interior as well, especially in this trunk space. One of them is what we're going to see right here is this really nice upgraded all-weather floor mat padding for the back seats with this really nice CX-50 badge in them that also covers the back seats. So if you're throwing in some muddy gear or have some pets going in here, this is going to definitely protect your carpet a little bit in the back of the CX-50. Looking under the floor over here, we do actually have a spare tire in here as well. So if you are in an off-road scenario, you get a flat, you can throw on the spare. It's not a full-size spare, but it's definitely going to come in handy instead of a fix-a-flat kit. And in the center over here, we have part of our Bose premium audio system in the CX-50 as well. So really usable and versatile cargo space. And again, Mazda's accessories are just insane now for this model, so you can really get any sort of adventure use out of it that you are particularly looking for. The power rear tailgate, of course, is a wonderful feature. Now let's go have a look at the interior of this 2026 Mazda CX-50 Meridian Turbo, and of course nothing really is actually quite different on the interior for this year, but we'll just have a look at it anyways, as we have looked at this vehicle a few times before. As per usual, the rear door opens really wide to get a nice entry space inside of the CX-50, and of course this one's getting that really nice terracotta interior design. But let's hop inside because it is a little bit cold today, and we'll have a little bit of a better look at the interior of this CX-50 Turbo Meridian Edition. Hopping inside, a little bit of a step over to get in, but it's not too bad. Let's close up the door. Nice solid thunk from this door panel over here as well. And of course, on the door panels themselves over here, the rear seats of the CX-50 haven't been my favorite in terms of door card design. This is one giant piece of harder plastic, though down here we do have a nice soft touch armrest. And on the side of the door cards, I like this grab handle hook here, very solid feeling. And we also have some storage space in this lower portion over here, as well as a LED interior light and another grab handle up here, with a hook as well. Leg space in here is actually pretty good. This is my driving position. I would have like another inch-ish of additional knee room. Lots of foot space down here though, which is really nice. And overall, I feel pretty spacious in the back of these seats. Is really not too bad. Our center console over here does have heated rear seats in this particular model, which is quite nice in the outboard seats, and 2 glowing USB-C ports back here, which is also a nice touch in addition to our air vents. We also have a little bit of a hump. Well, actually not little. This is quite a big hump actually in the CX-50. So sitting in the center over here, let's have a look. My legs are going to have to be pushed out a little bit because I can't really fit them too much up here, as you can see. So I would impede on either of these exterior outbound passengers' leg space a little bit, but you can kind of shove all 3 people in the back here if you do need to. But what is comfortable though are these seats. I love Mazda's terracotta leather interior seats, and I also like how it is full leather. The Kia, for example, the main competitor to this vehicle, did not have leather interior. It was actually a vegan leather option. So if you do prefer that, Mazda isn't offering that on the CX-50 Meridian Edition Turbo, at least for right now, but I think I'd rather take this anyways. Feels a lot better. We have this centerpiece over here, which is black, and we also have some exterior contrast piping as well, which this is really cool design. We've seen this before on the Meridian Editions. We can fold the center armrest down to get 2 additional cup holders. This feels pretty sturdy and very nicely padded as well. Headroom is also great in the CX-50, and we have this large panoramic glass roof. Even though we have this support beam in the center, it helps to kind of open up this cabin a bit. It does have a shade to close, and with this roof platform on the particular one, it does kind of take up a little bit of some visibility up there, but still helps to let in a lot of light in the cabin. Now, getting up front in the CX-50 for 2026, we have a very familiar Mazda key fob, but we do still have keyless access in the front 2 doors, and Mazda's very sleek door handles there, so just touch that, opens up. Power folding mirrors as well, which is a great touch. And let's hop inside and check out this terracotta themed interior. Before we get inside, we do have power adjustment on the driver's seat as well. You can actually option some sport pedals in here if you do want, and some more premium floor mats other than these, but this one doesn't have that. But these seats are actually quite comfortable. The terracotta leather is a gorgeous, gorgeous touch over this zircon sand metallic paint. Getting inside is also pretty easy as well. We have a really nice wide door opening in the CX-50, and the door thunk up front, pretty solid as well. So what's new on this cabin? Well, not much actually. Let's start it up. We have our start stop button located in the same place as all Mazdas, and a lot of beeps will come on in just a second for you guys. That's all a seatbelt warning chime, but we have seen this interior before, and actually nothing is really got new for this particular model year. The door panels are still the same up front here, so we have this nice squishier material up front here, no hard plastics, a contrasting trim piece, and this nice leather stitch with this baseball style stitching design on the door makes it look very premium up front here. Soft touch material over here and on the lower armrest area. I love all these nice physical buttons Mazda continues to keep doing. Physical lock and unlock switch as well. Nice grab handle piece there. We also are getting memory seat adjustments, as well as a quick access to our traction control, auto stop start, parking sensors, and all safety system a master off switch, which is a great touch as well. Otherwise, we have a decent amount of storage on our lower door cubby over here, which is nice. I mentioned we have power adjustment for these seats. The seats themselves are a little bit nicer than the rear, so we have a little bit more contrasting of stitching and patterns going on. I like this large center black portion over here, which is quite nice. And we also are getting a nice comfortable headrest as well. I think the seats are overall generally pretty comfortable as well. Now, our driver cockpit has not changed either, so we still have our air vents on either side of the cockpit, which really are interestingly placed. I've always thought they always kind of just aim straight towards your hands. So if your hands are always here, they're going to get really, really warm. And also we're getting this wonderful Mazda steering wheel, which is leather wrapped. I love Mazda's steering wheels. I like how they're not overly thick. They feel very premium to touch. All the button and switch gear on the steering wheel is very, very welcome as well. And of course we have our 3 gauges over here. So the out ones are of course analog. The center is that Mazda digital gauge we've seen for quite some time now. And you can't do much with this one, so you really can just kind of cycle it through a regular speedo, as well as some driving information and this kind of assisted view screen. That's about it. And of course, going through our different drive modes through the Mazda Intelligent Drive Controller down here, we can get a little bit of some different graphics, of course. So in Sport, for example, it goes red. Gives us a little graphic there. Same thing with towing mode. We also have normal and off-road modes as well. Off-road mode gives us a little bit of a different graphic, a little bit more rugged looking design, but nothing too intense there whatsoever. Up here, we do have an active driving display, aka a heads-up display in Mazda speak, which is nice. It doesn't display too much information, but it is still nice to have as well. And of course, this interior is just typical good old Mazda design. Center console down here is filled with lots of physical buttons. I love a good old nice leather-wrapped shifter. We can manually shift it as well. So upshifts are back, downshifts are forward. I like that pattern layout there. This car is so new, this test vehicle. It still actually has the plastic on the center console, so I might as well peel that off for us for right now. But you can see just how new all this gloss black plastic is before it starts getting scratched up. I love the Mazda control wheel here. I know some people are like, oh, you know, I'd rather just have a pure touchscreen. This works great. You can keep driving, have a hand on the wheel. If you need to make an adjustment, you can look at the screen, which is in your line of sight, and just quickly make adjustments with the little scroll wheel. It's so simple and easy to use. And of course, when you're in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, this becomes a touchscreen, which you do have to activate. Some people get confused and like, why is it not using a touchscreen? You have to go into the settings here. You have to go to connectivity settings. You have to go to your phone, and you're going to have to enable touchscreen in motion. If that's turned off, Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with touch won't work. We have 2 decent sized cup holders up front here, this rubber storage cubby over as well, and we have a 12-volt socket. I wish they put a USB-C port up here, actually. I think that would have been quite nice to have. Otherwise, we do have a wireless charger over here, which you can actually deactivate from the infotainment system, which I think is a nice touch. This doesn't always fit some bigger size phones, and it does get quite hot sometimes. So I actually found myself turning it off on some occasions and using it just as storage, but it is there if you need it. This center armrest is super comfortable, very squishy, and it still opens in that nice, more premium feeling fan style as well. So looking in here, we have a decent amount of storage in here, 2 glowing USB-C ports as well, which is a nice touch. And it is felt lined on the bottom, which I think is a nice touch. And I love this fan style operation. Really cool touch there. I've always thought this air vent in the center is a little bit of a funky placement here, but at least you get one, and it is kind of integrated with this very clean horizontal design of the CX-50. And we still have the wonderful physical controls here for our climate system. So really easy adjustments for our fan speed as well as temperature adjustment. Just good old buttons like we're used to. And this vehicle does come with ventilated and 3-stage heating front seats. The only gripe here is that this heated steering wheel, in typical Mazda fashion, only gets hot right here and right here. So you can see where these lines cut off here. These upper portion and lower portions are not heated. Otherwise, good old style glove box here, decent size. We do have a HomeLink rear view mirror up here. No camera mirror though. It is a nice slimmer style, which is nice. We do get nice bright LED lights up here as well. And I like how they still include a sunglass holder up here, which is felt lined. I do really like that as well. So your glasses don't get scratched. Our side view mirrors here, let's see if they slide. They don't still, so we still have this little extending piece. But as you can see, the sun still can get through actually in some cases, since it doesn't slide. But I do like how this mirror has a LED light in it, and it turns on automatically. The Kia, for example, at the same price, you have to manually turn on the light actually, and it was not LED. Did not feel super premium to me. But other than that, that's what you're going to get in this cabin. You know, one thing I've always wanted to say about the CX-50 is it always feels a little bit more premium in here than a lot of its competition. It may not have the highest and latest technology or crazy gadgets and stuff, but the build quality, the fit and finish, the design of this interior does feel more premium than pretty much almost all of its competition now, though I will say that new Volkswagen Touareg is pretty nice. Now, there is one major complaint that I have with both this car and with Mazda, because I honestly do not know why they did this. This is an off-road vehicle, right? So you would expect it to have all of the great off-road stuff that pretty much all the competition offers with that kind of thing. So you would expect it to have a 360 camera, but pop it into reverse, and what do you get? A reversing camera with, yes, 360 parking sensors, but I really and genuinely do not know why they did not give this vehicle the CX-50 Turbo Meridian Edition, the 360 camera with the see-through front thing. That is what I think this vehicle needs to have. I don't know why it's locked to the Turbo Premium Plus and not on this vehicle. They're pretty similar in price. I cannot imagine it would cost that much more to add that feature, but there's no camera button anywhere in this interior, and the only way you can get the camera on is put this one camera is putting it into reverse. I think that was a huge miss from Mazda, and I hope they can throw that in for the 2027 model year, because it's not in the 2026. But let's pop it into drive, because the CX-50 is a wonderful vehicle to be a driver in, and that's just thanks to Mazda's chassis and design and tuning engineering. They focus the driver a little bit more so than other people in the vehicle, so it is a little bit stiffer in that aspect, especially compared to a Kia Sportage X Pro Prestige, which we just got out of. This turbo engine is just fantastic. We have had it now in a few different variants of the CX-50, and it always feels the same. We have up to around 250-ish horsepower, 320 torque, and it is definitely a torquey little beast of an engine. I love that aspect to this vehicle. It really makes it just such a unique driving characteristic, because on the highway and around town, you have just so much torque in all cases. Now, we do have auto hold as well as auto stop start, which you can deactivate. This little button right here, there's an i-Stop button to turn on and off your auto stop start system. We also do have our auto hold, which we can turn on and off as well, but those are all pretty fairly easy. Look at that Mustang right there. Epic build. But let's see a quick acceleration in the CX-50. I doubt it's going to sound that good. I'll actually go this way for you guys. So we do have paddle shift in the CX-50 still, the 6-speed automatic, of course, i-Activ all-wheel drive in the system. This vehicle is torquey. Shifts are pretty, slow overall, but the responsiveness with the paddle shifters is actually quite quick. And you get up to speed so quick in this car, it's quite scary actually. It doesn't sound like the engine's revving very high, because this Mazda 2.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder just does not rev high initially at all. But this car does get up to speed very quickly with all of that torque as well, especially in the sport mode. Everything's a little bit more responsive, and the shifts, while they aren't the quickest shift overall, the paddle shifters, like I mentioned, and the manual shifting is very responsive action. And driving the CX-50 around corners is just fantastic. Now, if you've already noticed, the sound coming from this upper roof plateau, as it's called, is a little bit loud. So I like to put the shade, and you can still hear the wind buffeting up there just a little bit, but can't really escape it when that thing is attached to the vehicle. Acceleration from a stop is also really strong in the CX-50 turbos. Ooh, and you get a little bit of some lift-off turbo whoosh sounds as well coming from under the hood, which is a great touch. But the real thing about the CX-50s I love is just how they feel driving around a corner. It feels planted, it feels confident. So the steering is quick, responsive, has a little bit of some feedback and feel to it, and these all-terrain tires actually add a little bit of some weight and feel additionally to this steering rack. Now, it's actually a little bit lighter than I felt in the last Turbo Meridian Edition. That one's steering was so insanely heavy, it honestly felt like something was broken. That seems to be fixed now. Now, it doesn't feel insanely heavy, just a nice amount of natural kind of weight going on here. But around town, when you're not, you know, driving this car hard or anything, it's actually very comfortable, very restrained overall, and I actually quite like that about it. And the best thing with these newer, you know, upgraded all-terrain rubber is that they're not really loud, actually. So you're not getting a lot of sound coming from the road into the cabin as much as I was expecting with an off-road style all-terrain rubber on this vehicle. The only downside to all of this, like I mentioned, is it is relatively pretty stiff. Going around some bumps around town, you're gonna feel it all on all four corners of this vehicle. It really kind of comes into the cabin. Not really so much where it's bouncing you, but you feel that this car overall is such more of a rigid, stiffer chassis. You just feel those bumps a little bit more. It kind of reminds me of like a German vehicle in that aspect. But that is the biggest trade-off you're going to get in terms of this vehicle's really great strong points, which is its handling characteristics. Something Mazda also lets you do is you can actually adjust the volume of your turn signal click sound. So I think it's on like the medium level right now, medium to low. But if you want it louder, you can actually adjust that in the CX-50s, which is a pretty fun little feature there. But going over some pavement over here, you can kind of hear a little bit more of that, or feel maybe through the vibrations in the camera a little, the roughness and stiffness of this vehicle. It was just so apparent to me coming directly out of that Kia X-Pro Prestige Sportage, because that was such more of a softer, a little more floatier-esque suspension, a little more body roll you'll feel through it, but that's just kind of looking at the differences between these types of vehicles. Now going back out onto the highway, we'll get another test of our acceleration in the CX-50 Turbo Meridian Edition. I'll probably destroy our already not so great fuel economy, but we had a little bit more of a better sense for these paddle shifters. Second gear on the power. It's interesting, once you get higher in the rev range here, this thing does pull really hard, especially as you go through these 6 speeds of the 6-speed transmission. Though, as I also mentioned, you're still going to get some of that wind buffeting from that roof plateau platform up there as well. Now, we don't get all of the wonderful on-highway driving assistance features that you're going to find in the Turbo Premium Plus CX-50. That is unfortunately just how Mazda is still packaging their vehicles. Sans 360 camera on this one, but we are getting radar adaptive cruise control, so that's very easy to activate. You press once, you set your speed, and that is it. And I like the visuals we're getting in our active driving heads-up display up there as well. That's showing us the same following distance controls, as well as our safety systems in that vehicle as well. But I still love this vehicle. It handles great, it drives great, it's really comfortable, spacious, capable, and overall it's really just fantastic. It's just this model that has a little bit of some gripes that I think Mazda can still work out as this vehicle continues throughout its lifespan. We have a great Bose audio system in here as well, which is nice. It isn't the most advanced system Mazda even offers from Bose, but it's a pretty good upgrade. I think it's worthwhile. Just has with this roof platform on it, honestly, with the higher volume levels, I've noticed some little bit of vibrations happening above us. And even with this shade closed right now, as you can hear, we are getting some kind of wind buffeting coming from the upper portion of that area there. So still a little bit of a downside on that front. As always though, thank you for joining us in yet another tour and review over at Allcarnews, especially of the CX-50, and definitely check out our full reviews and drives of the CX-50 Hybrid, as well as the older CX-50 Meridian Edition and Premium Plus that we all have on our channel. We're just adding this 2026 one to the list of Mazdas we've been able to review. Thanks again, Mazda, and again, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more coming soon. Cheers.